Hi, Carter and Aditi. So grateful for your time, giving us some insights about who you are, who the Student Rep Network is, and opportunities for advocacy going forward. So, Carter, since you're the chair, would you get us started? Tell us a little bit about who you are and what made you interested in being the chair of the Student Rep Network.
I'm Carter McKnight. I was elected to the SRN chair this year. I've been on my school board. This is my second year, and this is my first year as the SRN chair. I think what really got me into this was when I first joined the SRN, my first year on the school board. I gained a lot of information on how to make real advocacy in my district, how to do advocacy legislatively and in a lot of areas. I learned got a lot of resources from the Student Representative Network, along with getting to speak with other student reps was so helpful to me. And I wanted to carry on that kind of idea of sharing different stories with people and experience and how to really make change together. And that was really helpful to me. So I wanted to carry that on.
Awesome, Carter. We really appreciate your time and your leadership in that role. And Aditi, you're the vice chair. Tell us a little bit about where you reside and what made you interested in that role.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me on. I'm Aditi Marihalli. I'm from the Issaquah School District, and I've been a student representative. This is my second year. And so what really got me interested in the SRN and being vice chair is attending the WSSDA Legislative Conference. So I attended that conference last year. Unfortunately, this year I was unable to go, but I did go to the WASA, WSSDA, and WASBO conference. And so just being able to see a community of student representatives, seeing, just the possible impact that we can have if we come together collectively, that really made me interested in being the vice chair. And so I'm really excited to be in this position.
Thank you both so much. We're excited to have you in those roles. Carter, would you tell us a little bit about what the Student Rep Network does? You've been involved with it now for, it sounds like your second year. So what did you do last year and what are the plans for this year?
The last year, mainly it just provides a space for students to come and share their own experiences with being a student rep and get to connect with other student reps. Because I mean, there's only really one or two per school district, so it's really important to connect with people from other districts. Last year, our main goal was making an advisory on how to implement student reps in our school district. And this year, our goal is going to be to get as many school districts as possible to have student representation. So it's going to include different strategies like outreach to students in those districts, outreach to school boards and districts without student reps, and just trying to make sure that everyone has representation.
That's great. We're excited to see that work. Aditi, and anything else that you would add about what you've seen the Student Rep Network do or what you're hoping for as a group for this year?
Yeah, so just building on top of what Carter said, we have a really clear timeline of how we're going to carry this project out. We know that we're going to reach out to schools' ASB programs so that we can get students who are really passionate about leadership involved in their school districts and potentially in legislative advocacy. We know that we're going to reach out to school boards that don't have student representation. And so we kind of have a timeline of the steps that we're going to take in order to accomplish this goal.
That's great. And will we see the fruits of your labor by the end of this year? Is that the goal?
I hope so.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Awesome. We're excited to support you in that and to see the results because it'll be helpful to so many districts. So a curious question as it relates to the Student Rep Network or as in your experience as a student board rep within your own school districts, what do you think good advocacy looks like when authentic student voice is engaged? And Aditi, why don't you take this first?
Yeah, sure. So I think good advocacy, occurs on so many different levels. It occurs in the classroom, it occurs in each individual school, and then it occurs on the district level. But I guess for our purposes, what good advocacy looks like is when school district administrators, school board members, um, kind of advocate keeping students in mind. And so that can include having student representatives like us advocate with them. But that also doesn't, I mean, it's not just limited to that. It also means reaching out to students in your own district and asking them what issues do they face on a daily basis and how does advocacy truly impact them, their stories, not just getting more funding because, it'll make our schools better, but actually understanding that students are behind this. And the reason that we're advocating is so that we can better each student's education.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Carter, what would you add?
Yeah, I strongly agree with Aditi's perspective on that. I think it's really important to keep students at the center of it. They're the reason that we do a lot of this work, and that's why we're trying to legislate, is to try and make students' experience at schools better. And that's why you gotta make sure that your stories and your experiences that you're sharing with your legislators and advocacy are always centered on the students, and not also someone's perceived idea of what a student experiences in school, but what the students are telling you their experiences are in school, and accepting that, and then carrying those stories and experiences and giving them to the legislatures and saying MSOCs aren't just important because of insurance and other costs, but they're important because they impact students in this exact way. And we've talked to students and we know how this is now impacting that. And you're connecting those dots between the more obscure, like formula stuff and the actual student experience. And that's what really drives the change.
That's cool. So well said. And maybe even better yet, bringing a student along to have those conversations with legislators might be even the best delivery of that kind of information, but maybe a both and. Thank you
Most
so much.
definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much for that insight. I think what I would offer to our members who are listening is that if you have a student board rep now, please be sure that they're plugged into the student rep network. And if you have questions about how to do that, you can email WSSDA staff at strategicadvocacy@wasda.org. And if you don't have a student board rep yet, you should just ask Carter and Aditi and their fellows on the student rep network. We will also be sending out with this video resources for how you can start a program. And it sounds like there's going to be even more great information coming.